Spears and Steinberg.
You know what the it is?
Aries and Andy, Jew and the Jerk.
You know it's time to get this work.
The real raw, gutter, uncut, cold. No political corrections.
Always sleep.
Being awoke. We discuss politics and jokes.
Scribe, we lit.
There's levels to this shit. Before you was on your mama.
Harry Spears don't give a fuck.
We talk about race a lot, racism. Much love to my loyal bag holders.
Rollers, loaders.
We got them in the folders.
The whole world on our shoulders.
Spears and Steinberg.
Yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay. That's cowboy talk, which is appropriate because we are in cowboy country. We are in TX, Texas. So, whether it's Dallas, which we've been to, Houston, which we're going to, Austin, which we've been to. Once upon a time ago, I did Beaumont, I did Odessa.
We've done El Paso.
We've done El Paso. We there, man, with this cowboy country. So yippee-ki-yay. Before we begin this podcast, I want to give a special shout out and a big suck my to Brandon from the UK. You know, I got to tell you, man.
He wrote back in?
Let me tell you something, man. This is like a Friday the 13th Jason type character. Like this won't die. And I thought he was gone for a minute. I think he took a break. But here's the thing, Brandon, and I know you're listening and you're watching. Here's what's so corny about you, you piece of shit. It's like, dude, if you are not, first of all, listen, I know that, as I always say, I often read the comments in YouTube, on the YouTube, because I study all forms of game tape, be it good or bad. You know, there's certain things I want to know from the audience that I think I could learn from. There's times when I can't learn shit, and I'm just curious. Either way, I try to soak it all in and use it to, as we progress, better the podcast, maybe better myself in certain ways. But I know that part of what comes with the territory, you can't please everybody. You're just not going to please everybody. You know, and there are certain times I'll read comments and people go, man, this episode didn't do it for me today. Man, this episode was boring. Man, Aries, you blah, 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 or Andy, blah, blah, blah. And okay, I got to accept that. You know, it's not my job to please everybody. As hard as I may try, it's not going to happen. So I try not to let anything bother me, but sometimes I may read something that has a little ouch to it, like, damn, ouch. But again, I go, don't get too caught up and take it personal. It is what it is. Move on. But then every now and then, I will read a comment that is so brutally harsh. You guys suck. You do the same jokes, the same topics. You're so trash. And I go, damn. But then I see the name, Brandon from the UK. So it's like, as much as that shouldn't even bother me, even if it was someone else, because I know it's you lame crumpets and tea eating, drinking, I go, oh, to be expected. And dude, if you honestly, this is how corny you are, Brandon. If you really don't like us, if you really feel that strongly, why wouldn't you just say you're one piece, get it off your chest, and go, I'm never with y'all again, arrivederci. And that's it. You ride off into the sunset. We never hear from you again. You said everything you want to say, no matter how malicious and mean it is. And that's it. The movie ends. There will be no sequel. But your dumb ass keeps sticking with us. You keep watching. You keep listening. So you cannot, you are a fugazi. You cannot be that sincere in how you feel if you are still with us. So stop it, you corny ass. Stop it. Either get the out or shut the up. Either way, suck my entire. If I swear to God, if you would allow me, I would stuff my and my in your mouth. Get all three pieces in there and just live in your face for a good 3 hours. Let all of my chocolate melt in the back of your throat. You cornball ass. So corny.
Do you know when Howard Stern was in D.C., I think is what it was, they said...
I almost hope when me and Andy come to the UK next year, because we coming early next year to visit the UK, do some tours in UK. I don't know what you look like. I don't know if you're a big motherfucker, a brolic ass. I don't know what your girth is in terms of size, what your height, but I almost want to meet you. Just so I could either see if A, you might have the ability to slap the taste out of my mouth, or B, I can stomp on you and let you be the gum under my shoe that I know you are.
Do they have brolic in the UK?
Black
dudes get brolic.
We don't get brolic, Mike.
But Howard Stern had the same thing. They said that people would listen to Stern for who loved him an hour and a half a day. But then the other side was people who didn't like him listened to him for over 2.5 hours a day. And they said, why would they listen for 2.5 hours a day? Most notable answer, I want to see what he's going to say next. So maybe Brandon's just listening because he wants to see what we're going to say next.
So he's curious?
Yeah.
So you think that you think that it's just pure curiosity and no love for the pod itself?
Yeah.
Who the is that curious?
I have no idea. But, whatever people do.
That is a high level of commitment to every week for an hour. If you include the emails, every week for 2 hours or change, just to see if your name is brought up or what they're going to say.
I don't know. I don't know why anybody does what they do. I'm just saying that was an interesting little nugget that he came up with Stern, because Stern was very hated at the beginning. Through most of his career, he was hated until he became older, a little bit more professional in his interviews, and then he was hated because the people that liked the other part hated that. So
I wish I knew what this dude looked like, because I swear if I knew and I saw him in London, I'd smack the shit out this with a handful of croissants. Just so I can get croissant flakes all in his face. This is such a cornball.
Why does it bother you, though?
No, because I just go, stop with the if you don't like us, beat it, scram. But don't sit there and talk all that shit, and you still with us.
But maybe that's what he likes. Is he likes being able to talk. Maybe this is where he gets his deal, just talking shit.
I wish I could eat 2 pounds of roadkill and then take a shit in your mouth.
I don't know which one was worse. The first description you did with him or the second one?
With my 3-piece in his mouth?
Yeah. I don't know which one was worse.
This the roadkill. Because I'm going to be, that dude who's going to be sick. That's going to come in with malaria and all kind of foul. Your mother should have swallowed you.
Brandon, how's it going, man?
You. So we're here in San Antonio. Big shout out to my man Carlos, who owns, what's the name of the restaurant?
Guajillos.
Guajillos, which is, again, I'm not a big Mexican lover of food. I keep telling Andy, like he was asking me, yo, you don't have a down home, like a Mexican spot? And, LA is Latino, is the heavy Latino population. So a lot of Mexicans, particularly Mexicans, specifically Mexicans. Whereas, like, you go to Miami, Dominicans, Cubans, New York, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. LA is very Mexican.
Yeah.
But of all the Mexican restaurants that exist in Los Angeles, and I don't say this proudly, but I'm being honest. And I said this to Andy, dude, when it comes to tacos and what is supposed to be deemed Mexican food, I'd rather make my own tacos at home, or I like Del Taco or Taco Bell more than I like authentic Mexican food, man. Mexican tacos in a restaurant, even if it's a great restaurant, they don't do it for me.
There's a simplicity to a great taco. There really is. It's some basic flavors, and you don't like corn tortillas either, but a corn tortilla,
flour
with carne asada and a little bit of onions and cilantro on some well-grilled carne asada, that's a taco, man. That's what it's supposed to taste like. You're supposed to taste each of those flavors. Some people put a little pico on it. I don't. I just onions, cilantro, and the meat and tortilla.
Like I said, I'm not a big Mexican food guy, but this place here in San Antonio, which is like a 7-minute walk from the hotel.
You can't say San Antonio without sounding a little like Barkley. You just can't say it.
San Antonio. Dude, you know, there's a clip of me, my latest interview with Vlad. And sometimes I forget how brilliant I am.
I can't believe you can forget that.
I'm telling you, I get the Andes when it comes to my brilliance. There's a moment where we're talking about the fact that the African Sudan team lost to the Olympic team by 1 point. And at one point, I brought up Barkley because we talking about them in comparison to the 92 Dream Team. And for one split second, I did the Barkley impression, which is something he had said about their run in the Olympics when he said, I don't know anything about Angola, but I know Angola's in trouble. And so many people in the comments was like, yo, if this Aries can't do nothing else, he is an impressions master. Now, I just said the one line, but even when I listened to it, I went, God damn, I was in pocket, nigga. That was Charles, nigga. So these big old women down here in San Antonio. So it's a 7-minute walk from the hotel. I absolutely love it. I get the same thing every time, which is this fried pork loin, flat steak, the Mexican rice, refried beans. And then on a flour tortilla, I get the grilled steak with cilantro, onions, sprinkle some lime on that shit and some hot sauce. Mwah. That being said, I'm saying, and I keep telling Andy, I can't wait to take him when he comes to my crib to this Cuban spot. Man, this Cuban spot I go to, it's a shrimp, like a scampi cooked in a garlic butter with yellow rice, circular cut sauteed whole onions, but then the fried pork chunks with the black beans. Andy, oh my God. Here's my difference, and we were talking about this. This flavor from the Cuban spot with the black beans and the yellow rice and the onions sauteed and the shrimp and garlic and the pork chunks, it kicks you in the throat. The Mexican, and I don't know if that rice is more of a reddish rice, right? It's not really a yellow rice like
No, it's not
Cubans
a yellow
and
rice.
Puerto Ricans,
It's not
right?
yellow.
But it just doesn't have a bang to the flavor.
Well,
I like it, but there's no bang.
Well, first of all, I think that in especially Sonoran, but this isn't Sonoran, this is Tex-Mex. Like the rice and beans are a side. It's not the focus of the dish. But like in Cuban, if the beans aren't right, the food ain't right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Seriously, the beans is just as important to the whole meal. The beans are perfect. But that being said about Mexican food, dude, the beans that like my family makes are completely different from what I get in restaurants out here, out in Arizona, because I really think they just make them as a side, and I think it's kind of a lost art to make really good sides. But as you go deeper into Mexico, you go to Mexico City, the food's completely different from what we know in the States. It's different. And then, like we just had the conversation, we're in Texas, so it's more of a Tex-Mex style, Sonoran in Arizona. And then you go over to California, and it's Cali-style Mexican food. That's American Mexican food. That's an American/Mexican food. It's really a hybrid. So it's different from every region that you go to. But when you're bringing up Cuban, the Cuban food has stayed traditionally Cuban. It didn't intermingle with the Texas style of cooking or the American style of cooking. It is what it is, and there was a good Cuban place in Phoenix when I was growing up, and then we have a really good Cuban restaurant in Hoboken. So I get it, man. It's a different flavor. It's a different way of doing cooking, and I like the Cuban food though too.
Oh, wait till I take you to this place. Your drawers are gonna slip off while you sitting. You'll be sitting on your ass, and you're gonna question how do your drawers slip off with the pressure of your ass holding your drawers down into the chair. But they're gonna slip off, man. You're gonna get up to leave, and you're gonna trip because your drawers is at your ankles, even though your pants is at your waist.
Dude, the only thing is I don't like big, huge chunks of onion or tomato.
Andy, it melts. I'm telling you.
If it's a small piece,
No. The way what I do is, well, first it's again whole circular onions, but I chop the onions up, not even like little dice pieces. Just chop
it just
it
kind
up
of falls apart.
the way it melts together with the rice and the beans. And I know you're not a big pork dude, but the pork is so tender. It's so tender. Oh Jesus, Andy. Oh,
The pork you got today over there, that was the best I've ever seen it cooked. It was golden brown with that little bit of dark edge around it. The crust on the very edges was a little. Man, that looked. Was it better today than it was yesterday?
it was damn good. It was damn good.
The one you got today, man, I almost wanted to ask for a little piece of it just because it looked so incredible. It looked good. But yeah, it's cool coming out, and I like experiencing different, going to different places, different restaurants. But when we come out here, that's a stop because it's right by the hotel. It's on the way to the club, and it's always good.
And by the time we get done eating it, it's a nice little walk back, only to work off a little bit.
A very little.
A very little bit.
But it was good. They had this fish dish, and I never had this one before, and it was in a garlic, like a garlic butter sauce, and it was mahi mahi. Man, it was, that was.
No, listen. If we were here a third day, I might try what you had, but I went only here 2 days.
Yeah, you got to get it.
Yeah, I got to get it. And the owner of the place, Carlos, unbeknownst to me, when we went Friday, me, you, and Mark, my videographer, I was, more than prepared. I was to pay the bill. And then our server goes, no, it's on the house. And the owner was like, hey, man, welcome back. So I left him free tickets. He came to the show last night. But yeah, if we were doing a Sunday show, man, I would have definitely got what you got because it did look good. And I was like, damn, every time you come to this place, you get the same. So switch it up.
But it's hard when you're only here once a year. You want.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So I get it.
All right, let's get political for a second. And just so y'all know, we are talking about Deadpool, Wolverine, but we're going to save the dessert for last. So let's get a little political because there's some small things on my mind. And before we begin, in case I didn't say it, suck my Brandon.
Yeah, because we weren't on the road for a week, so we had something pre-recorded. So we haven't talked about any of this political upheaval that's been happening.
And listen, I've been catching flack from both the black community and especially the white community. It almost feels like I've been catching flack equally from both sides because I said, and I'm sticking this landing, I'm voting for the black woman because she's black. We get to kill two birds with one stone. We might get the first woman president and the first black female president. And I said in a post, white women failed Hillary, black women, let's not blow this assignment. And of course, white people, why you gotta vote for the right person because she's the right person. And again, I want to be careful here because I know when we pull this thread, me and Andy can go down the long yellow brick road. So I want to be careful. But long story short, as I've always said, there's a group of people that I know in the MAGA nation that are voting for Trump because he's their cult leader. And no matter what he does, as he said, he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and still get support. This man can do no wrong. So I know there are people that are voting for him because he's who he is, because he's white and they're white. And white folks historically have always stood behind each other. And black people historically have not. So I'm sticking behind mine. So suck my and you. And to all the black people who are a little bit disappointing me because you guys, we're redefining what black is, which I don't understand. She ain't black, she Jamaican. Last time I checked, Jamaican's black. And when a racist cop has the muzzle of his gun pointed in the face of a person of color, do you think at that moment they're differentiating between African-American black, African black, Haitian black, Jamaican black, Sudanese, if I'm saying that right, whatever shade of black you are, different. They don't give a They see we are all a part of the same pigmentation game. So black people, what the are we doing with that? She ain't black, she Jamaican. Jamaican is black. Knock it the off. Now, before I give you the floor, because there's some clips I definitely want to play, but before I get too deep, anything you want to?
Well, I don't think you have the same conversation you're having if she didn't come out and going, no, I'm the first East Indian. They're using that because she said it. She said it. She didn't say I'm the first. Listen, when I'm on this podcast, I'll always say I'm Mexican Jewish. Mm-hmm. She could have said I'm black and East Indian, but she defined herself in a way that's where I think some of this backlash is happening from. That's on her, and she did it earlier. I'm not saying that that means that everybody needs to go and try to define. She defined herself that way. She's also defined herself as black, but that's one of the problems when you have a politician that is at one time was a attorney general and was locking up more black people for marijuana than anyone else. Not anyone else. At her time, anyone else. She also didn't had to go to court. You know, this is famous that she had to go to court to get to release evidence to get someone who was on death row off death row. They went off to court. She wasn't going to release it as the DA. Was she the DA? I don't know what she was. Prosecutor. And then she goes over to she's the senator, I guess, of she's the Congress for San Francisco area. And then she becomes the most liberal person. So, you know, she in a way is she does what she's, I guess, required to do wherever she's required to do it. But I don't know who she is because she has different outcomes wherever she's at, says different things depending on the moment. So she's caused some of these questions to define her. So I think that that's why you're getting this, because that's what she's done this. It wasn't, I don't think it's just the people.
Well, this is why I'm glad I have this clip, and I'm going to play this, because again, let me say, as I have said, I'm not a political guy. So in a way, yes, do I feel silly at times because I'm dipping my toes into a pool that I don't really swim in? Yes, because you should have as much information, if not all the information you need to support your argument. But at the same time, I do know enough to know there are so many people who go off what they've heard, what they think they know. They don't do any research, and they run with whatever the talking point is. And I remember when I did my recent interviews with Vlad brought this up and kind of shed light onto it for me about this whole thing that black people want, particularly black men, want to run with. She's locked up more black men and blah, blah, blah. He broke that down to me, that it's really not what they're making that out to be. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I ran across this clip that shed even more light on it. So I want to play this clip, and then hopefully you and I can talk about this a little bit, and you can tell me what you think and whatnot.
Let me set the record straight. Kamala Harris was never over the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. She was the Attorney General of the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice does not oversee the CDCR. The CDCR is overseen by the Secretary of the CDCR, which is part of the governor's cabinet. During Kamala Harris's tenure, there were 3 secretaries of the CDCR appointed by then Governor Jerry Brown: Matthew Cate, Dr. Jeffrey Beard, Steve Kernan. Those are the 3 white men that were responsible for all the things that you want to lay at the feet of her. Oh, people were kept past their prison sentences. Not true. What is true is that the CDCR was under federal court supervision. That had nothing to do with Kamala Harris. That had to do with the fact that prisons were overcrowded, and there was a Public Safety Realignment Act that they needed to come into compliance with. There were various issues with coming into compliance because there was no capacity in other facilities throughout the state. There were also concerns about releasing violent offenders. There's this completely false notion that everybody is in jail for weed in California, when the reality is 93% of prisoners in California are there because they're either there for a violent crime or because they have a history of committing violent crimes. So when the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation needed somebody to represent them, they can't call up Johnny Cochran. They had to be represented by the Department of Justice. The Deputy Attorney Generals represented the interests of their client. And so if you have an issue with what was represented in court, then what you really have an issue with is the position of the Secretary of the CDCR. So go talk to Matt, go talk to Jeff, or go talk to Steve and keep Kamala's name out of it.
So there you go.
Okay, but listen, you can't.
Here we go.
No, I want to really say this in a way that is super easy.
Okay, and before you say that, so even though she just pointed out that all this about Kamala locked up all these black men, when she pointed out the 3 white men who were responsible for that, and not her, what make it simple?
What did she say? She said 93% of them are in there for violent offenses.
Mm-hmm.
So which is it? Are the black men being locked up because they're violent offenders, 93% of them? Or are they being locked up because they're being sought after by these white men?
If they're being locked up for violent crimes, actual violent crimes?
93%.
Okay, they're where they deserve to be.
Okay, but you can't have. What's the other side of the story? The other side of the argument is that black men are just being locked up. They're given these sentences
Because they're simply black men?
Yeah.
Okay, but before we get to that, I want to make sure I answered your first question. If they are being locked up for violent crimes that they themselves committed, are they not where they're supposed to be?
What I'm saying to you is,
I'm asking you that first.
I don't. If it's violent crimes, if the prosecution is handing out equal justice for everyone, whether they're black, white, Middle Eastern. What else we got here?
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
If the justice is unequally handed, okay, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But let's deal with one first.
Okay.
If they are in fact committing violent crimes and they're in jail, are they not where they're supposed to be?
Yes. But
okay.
But what I'm saying now is that the story? Is this the media? Is this what you've been hearing in the press about the people that are in jail? Or have we heard a different story? This is unfair.
The only thing I've heard is that Kamala Harris is this black woman who is purposely looking to lock up and do away with black men.
I never heard that she's purposely locking up.
No.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, when you listen to the position of all the black men that are like, that, she is out there putting black men away for marijuana charges and locking up enormous amounts of black men for marijuana. That's all I get. That's all I've been hearing.
I think it's because she is poor at marketing herself as far as her. Trump is one other side, so I'm going to say that because he's terrible at marketing himself and it seems to be working out. She does things like when they said, "Did you ever? You've been responsible for locking up black men. Have you ever smoked yourself?" And she laughed.
She probably was smoking at the time.
Yeah. So what I'm saying though is she causes herself these issues. You haven't asked me anything about her, so you don't even know. No one listening to this knows, or no, you have, and we haven't talked about it because we were saving for the podcast what I feel about her. So we don't even know that yet. So I'm taking this step by step. The narrative has been that these black men are getting locked up. Now it's 93% of them are actually violent offenders. The narrative before, the media narrative, the narrative that's going around, BLM, these black men are being locked up for no reason whatsoever. Now we're accepting 93%. We're talking out of both sides of our neck on this, are we not? The narrative is coming from both sides. There's something unbalanced and some uneven about the way that these things are being presented right now. That's what my point is. Statistics can be moved around to make your argument for any way you want it.
Was there any validity to that post?
I'm sure that there is. I did not study it. I don't know what. I haven't looked at it. I didn't do any research.
But
on my
based
own.
on what unless she is lying.
No. I'm sure there's a lot of it. But what you're saying is that Kamala was completely powerless, and these three white men were the only ones that had anything to do with it.
I'm going off of what that post.
I don't know. I don't think that you're.
I'm just saying, unless that post is a lie, she just pointed out and debunked the Kamala Harris myth.
It's the interpretation of what's happening there. There's no way that she has that position and she doesn't have some say in what's going on. She does have say.
She may have had some say, but she specifically pointed out that if you want to be mad at somebody,
who to call
in terms of who to blame for what you're blaming her for, it's these three white men.
But my problem with that isn't it even what that is it is off from what I'm saying is you can't talk about 93% of the black men that are locked up are violent offenders and at the same time say that black men are being singled out for justice and that they shouldn't even be locked up in the first place.
Well, I'm not saying that.
But which one is it though? But that's what the narrative has been in the past. So which one is it? You can't just switch the game.
Well, I'm not dealing with the narrative in the past because my thing again is if they are in fact guilty of the crimes for which they are locked up for, they are where they need to be.
Okay.
My issue is to keep blaming her and saying she's the boogeyman that are putting away brothers when this lady is telling you that's not the case.
You're talking about this lady. We haven't done any of the research on it. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying I think that Harris has more to do with it than they made it seem like. Her position is, and she never spoke out against what that was, and that's her position too. She would be able to do that, and she didn't. So there is some validity to that argument. Without me researching, I can say there's validity to that argument. We'd have to look it up and then see what was responsible, and did she comment about that it shouldn't be handled this way or that things are being done wrong in the process. So I do understand people's frustration with her. I still understand people's frustration with her. But go on, because I'm not disagreeing with it, but I can't agree. I can't let her off the hook completely for what was just said. Even if that's 100% correct, I still think she has responsibility to call it out if there's an injustice going on.
Kamala is.
Yeah, if she has the responsibility to speak up about it. She has not talked about it in that way. And she's the one running, so she's going to have to clarify that if that's the case. Kamala is, and the people.
Well, I don't even know that that'll make a difference because so many black people's minds are already made up about who and what she is that I don't even think her trying to defend it is going to change anything.
Well, I think the problem with trying to change it is she should have changed it when it first came up in the debates, when she had the debates and this has come up. Now, she disagreed with it and she shook her head, but where's the information that she was giving out? I don't know who she is. My problem with her, more than any of all these other statistics, who wants this, my problem with her is that they put her away for the last 3.5 years. They had her out a few times. They didn't like how she responded. They thought she was a drag on the Democratic Party, and there was talk about her being replaced with running with Joe Biden this last time. And now she's the Democratic nominee. I think she got enough of the vote she was looking for, so that she's actually the nominee. I think that happened yesterday, but that's my problem with her. And so we don't know who she is. That's my problem.
Well, let me slide on to the second part of this. You know, and to those who will say, "So you just voting for her because he's black?" Listen, Donald Trump, and as I'm learning a little bit more about this Project 2025. Donald Trump has said to the extent that he'd like to give police officers immunity. And my thing is, so you're asking me to either vote for the guy that wants to give police officers immunity, a la just coming off of this, forgive me because it feels disrespectful, but I should know her name. Sonia, what was the lady that was just killed?
I'm not going to remember.
Pot of water, I rebuke you. But
Yes.
but whether it's her or we could name 1,000 other cases of black people who have been murdered by police. So you want to give cops immunity, which basically means the very people that look to do us harm and take our lives, you want to give them immunity. So you want me to vote for that guy as opposed to the black woman? Suck my. And even if you tell me, well, neither candidate is the ideal candidate, or you should vote based on who's right for policy and who's right for the country, again, it's either vote for the black woman or vote for the guy who wants to give cops a slap on the wrist for murdering us. Suck my dick. I'm voting for the black chick.
Okay, what you said there's so much that's not close.
Which part about the immunity?
Yeah, from the very beginning.
Okay, let me play the other clip then.
Okay, play the clip and then I'll give you what's not close about what you said. But it's not just about the immunity.
First of all, rest in peace for Sonia Massey.
There you go.
I mean, heartbreaking. But for all you people that say her name, posted, and rest in peace, what I want to tell you is this. If you really want to honor her, remember, the person who's running for president of the United States feel that the person who shot her should be immune because he was doing his official job. He's asking for immunity. So while you around here praying for it, which you should also vote in her memory, because if that person become president, you know who I'm talking about, he will still be a police today because he will have immunity. This is great talking to you. Love you.
I'm going to give immunity to police so they can do their job. I'm giving federal immunity to police officers so they can do their job.
Now, what about that is off, Andy?
I'm going to tell you everything that's off with that. One, you started off with Project 2025.
Okay, but fuck Project.
Well, no, we have to go.
We will. This is the part where I have to control my emotions and why people get upset with you. Let's rewind for a second. You just saw the clip of Donald Trump saying, "I want to give police immunity so they can do their job."
Police already have immunity.
Okay, they have. But so him doing that is helping even more.
No, that's murder. They don't have immunity for murder. The biggest problem with the police is when they don't turn in their the recorders. They're not turning on the recorders. The police are putting up their blue wall. They're not turning in these guys. This guy should never even have been on this force. If you want to make changes, we need a data bank where if someone gets fired from a police force for violent actions or having hostilities or known racism or whatever, they should never be able to get hired at another police department. Ever.
Amazing how it always slips through the cracks, though, right?
It's not amazing. It's easy to fix.
I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah,
No, it's not easy to fix, because if it were easy to fix, we'd have fixed it.
No.
But this is always going on.
No. It's easy to fix. They don't want to fix it.
Well, then there's the real problem.
Yeah, that's the real problem. It needs to be fixed, though. It needs to be. There needs to be laws passed for that. And I said they already have immunity. And Trump's saying that he's going to give them immunity. He cannot just give them immunity. He cannot blanketly give them the immunity. And what would the immunity cover would be official legal actions. What he did is not official. It was not a legal action. It is not you cannot just shoot. Not only did he shoot her, but when the guy went to go, his partner went to go get medical equipment. He says, It's a
headshot.
It's a headshot. You don't have everything about it was a murder. That wouldn't be covered under immunity. He's not going to be given immunity. He can't, and Trump just can't give out immunity. This is another thing where you have someone just saying that I don't understand why he could even say what he said.
Okay, so let's just go with that then. And let me say my bad then. I apologize if.
No, but you're right.
No,
because he sends a message.
Okay, and that's what I'm getting to. But I still let me apologize if I got emotional and was ready to jump off the handle based on not knowing truly what the definition of the immunity is. But to that rhetoric, to him doing that, to him sending that message, how dangerous that is.
Yeah, the rhetoric is not good. I agree with you. 100%.
So my stance still stands. Am I voting for that guy or the black woman? Suck my. I'm voting for the black woman
because she doesn't want to have those policies.
Because she don't do that.
Okay. But then you're not voting for her because she's the black woman. It's because she's a black woman who doesn't want to do that shit.
I'm also voting for her because I would love to see the first female black president.
Okay, all I'm saying is that's not the reason you're voting for her. That's the simple reason to say it that way. But when people are coming at you because you give it as something very simple, she's the black woman, so I'm voting for her. There's more to it than that. There's a reason why you're doing it. It's not just she's the black woman and you don't know any policies about her.
That's a good start for me.
It's a good start, but when there was other black men running for president, but they were running on the Republican side, would have you voted for them?
I was too young then.
But you understand what I'm...
I know, but the only black dude that I remember running for president was Jesse Jackson in the 80s. That was it.
Oh, well, there was Herman Cain
okay.
recently.
Well, we know he wasn't black anyway.
Okay, but see, now you're defining black.
No, I'm defining by the fact that wear shoes with no socks.
There's a lot of black dudes that wear shoes with no socks.
Man, them ain't real niggas.
So, you have to be careful. You're taking double standards on your rhetoric right now.
Not really.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not really.
Because you just said he wasn't black, and you're saying she is.
Again, Andy, we've gone down this road, and I'm not going to keep explaining myself to a white man about culture. Yes, you can.
That's the word that I wanted you to use right there.
Yes,
that's what I was hoping you would say.
Black by pigmentation, technically, yes. But there's a rhythm and a culture and a bop.
That's what I wanted.
A bop to the way we talk. A bop to the way we walk. A bop to the way we move. There's a culture and a rhythm.
And that's why I just said you wouldn't vote for the black man that was a Republican because the culture was different, correct?
You don't got that rhythm. He ain't got that whip wop.
That's all I want you to say, man.
All right.
That's all I wanted you to say.
All right.
Because that's what it is. It's about someone who's absent of understanding the culture. Maybe not absent of understanding it, just refusing it.
Just because you wear this skin as the uniform don't make you right for the team.
I have a whole different reason why I will consider voting for Harris.
What's that?
She's younger. I would like someone who grew up in the same time period that I did and understands exactly what we're going through right now.
That could be Vietnamese. That's close enough for me. That's a negative.
But I need someone that understands how growing up in the age of our computer age, our social media age, and understand not just doing Twitter and sending out some incoherent stuff that I don't understand. And I don't understand why you would do that as a person of responsibility. I'm talking about people that actually grew up with it, understand what their young kids are, how they're affected by this. She's the only one. We've had nothing but old people, and there's nothing wrong with old people. And you just brought up culture. That's what I was trying to get you when you said it. Culture. There's another culture in this country right now. The social media culture, the way we interact with people, the way kids go to school and bring their phones. I cannot believe that there is actually that some schools were trying to pass rules that the kids could not have a phone in school. They would have to check their phone, leave it in the locker, whatever. And the parents were mad.
Right.
The parents were mad because they said, well, how will we get a hold of our kids if we need to talk to them? How did our parents get a hold of us?
Hey, Polly, your sister's with me. Scream out the window.
I just don't understand how. And when we went to school, we went to school. We weren't interrupted by our phone and our friends, and we actually were there to learn something. I don't know if we all learned, but that was the purpose of it.
I learned I didn't need that.
All I know is that I like that she is from the culture that I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
When I talk about the culture we live in today, Biden is not from that culture. Trump is not from that culture. So that makes a big difference to me. They're going to understand the things that we're going through today. That's a huge difference. I have actually, that's why I'm saying you guys, I'm not answering yes or no. I'm voting. I don't know who I'm voting for. But I definitely, when she was announced, I was like, I can see it. I can see myself casting that ballot.
Yeah.
This is a different situation. When they said that they were going to team her up with Gavin Newsom, I was like, okay, I'm not voting for her.
Because you don't like Gavin Newsom?
I don't need someone who
He would be the Pat Riley of,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
of the presidency.
He's looking like he's L.A., that Hollywood stuff. I don't need that, and I don't think that California is necessarily did very well throughout the whole COVID thing, and he's responsible for a lot of it, and he's responsible for having to. This is the thing that I would hate about voting for someone like him, is that he says enforcing the police to enforce laws on distancing, on parties, and he's having a party.
Right.
So that's a big deal to me.
Good looking dude, though.
Yeah, he should coach basketball.
He'd be a success.
But I think you're right. I think you're right on a lot of things that you just said. And I'm not disagreeing with you on any of the things that you're bringing up in the videos that you saw. I think Earthquake simplified that a little bit too much, and he rolled too much into that.
Right. Listen, this is what's good. And when you have these conversations, you have to be willing to step back, take a deep breath, intercept what someone else is saying, and reanalyze and rethink. Because again, I'm being honest, the emotional part of me went that.
Well,
and when you talk about giving cops immunity, word, but since you explained it, I understand now, but it still doesn't change the fact that that's a very dangerous message.
It is a dangerous message because also with that immunity, the immunity that they even do have working under the laws that are available now, when it's covered up and you have immunity, it's much easier to keep it covered up and to get someone off.
So exactly.
So I that's why I'm saying I agree with you. I understand where you're coming from. I think that explanation from Earthquake was a little oversimplified. I think there's more to it. And I don't think that the president could sign into order blanket immunity for a police force because all police forces work differently too.
That white man can do whatever he wants. Nigga, stop the. This is America, nigga. White people do what the they want. They find laws around laws. O.J. Simpson, 40 years for stealing your own. Please. That was because you killed them two white folks. They said, we might not get you now, but we will get you later. And they got him.
You know what would have been amazing? And I wish it was available. If you could have him after a press conference just pop up.
Paul Mooney?
Yeah. And Paul Mooney gives his
rendition.
Yeah, just like what you just did right now. You know, Trump comes up and he says something after a press conference. Biden said something after. Right. Because the thing about Mooney is, and I do believe this seriously, Mooney wouldn't like Trump, but he wouldn't like Trump for being Trump. Not for being political Trump. Not for being Trump, because if Trump was fine when he was just Trump, but when he political Trump, there was a different thing. But I don't think Mooney had any allegiance to any party. He hated everyone equally.
Nigga, my allegiance was the truth. That was my goddamn allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the truth, nigga. All that other.
That would have been the best way to cut away after a press conference.
This here. Then, man, now it's time for our field reporter, Paul Mooney, with this here. Hello, I'm Paul Mooney. It's this, I'm this here. Let me tell you.
Dude, I'm swear to you from this podcast, and if you don't do this, It's ridiculous. Next, I don't care who it is. Every time there's a major, press conference, whatever, if you don't get on and do,
You know what, dude? And here's why I'm not savvy with this technology. Because I see people where they do these posts where they pop up in the actual footage. I don't know how to do that. But to what you're saying,
you get it with Mark.
if
That's running in the background.
that's running in the background,
You pop
and
up,
then pop up this here,
and you just do the whole
the
thing.
commentary.
Dude, if you would hit, that would hit so hard. If you don't do that,
I want to do it. I just personally
talk
don't
to Mark.
know.
Talk to Mark
Really?
tonight after this. Yeah, that needs to be done tomorrow.
Right.
That would be the funniest thing on the internet going forward.
Right.
And it would reintroduce Paul Mooney to a lot of people that need to know who Paul Mooney the is.
Kamala Harris ain't black. That is Jamaican. That is black. A meat patty with bread around it. That's a goddamn sandwich. Chad is black. Ain't black Jamaican. You kill me. I know what you're saying.
You got to do that.
I got you.
You guys, when you're listening to this podcast, please tell Aries he needs to do this like ASAP because he'll do it. If you guys hit him up,
I want to do it because I see what you mean. I just don't.
Every single time,
I'm a dinosaur, nigga.
Dude,
I don't.
You don't need to be. You just need to be the one who tells the other dinosaurs what the to do.
I like that. I'm the head bossosaurus sex. If I had more time, that would sound more brilliant.
You would have done it. I can't do it.
Right, because the word?
Yeah. Say the first word that I'm not going to say.
I'm the bossosaurus X.
That's it.
I'm the bossosaurus X. Something like that.
You don't need the whole beginning, just the...
I got you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it helps to say it.
You know what?
I know. Now, this is the part where we bring up dessert. You know how many people probably skip past this whole political conversation just to get to Deadpool, Wolverine?
I hope so.
I hope not. I hope not.
Dude,
like your mother told you, you want dessert, eat your goddamn vegetables. We just gave them vegetables. Eat your vegetables, and now you get the goddamn strawberry shortcake. Deadpool, Wolverine. I gotta say, man, this was fun. And for a guy, obviously this is man food because it's comic books, it's action, it's blood, it's everything that is man food criteria. But again, unlike Neri and some of you geeks out there, I'm not showing up at the convention dressed as Deadpool or Wolverine. But I will go see the shit out of this movie, and god damn it, this was fun.
It was really fun. And when you said man food, there's 2 scenes in this movie, and I'm not going to get into them right now, that look like they listened to you and they just said, okay, these are Aries Spears shots right here. We're going to do 2 scenes, and they're for Aries Spears himself.
I want to know which ones you're talking about.
Well, I'm going to go out of order. The scene in the van.
Listen, I wrote the 2 fight scenes in this movie. The one in the van and the initial fight between Deadpool and Wolverine. And here's what was so great about that. Here's what I love. Listen, I didn't even really know about Deadpool. Like growing up as a kid, who the fuck don't know Superman? That's the Michael Jordan of superheroes. Batman is like I always want to say, and this is why I say I don't understand how DC dropped the ball on this. You guys are the owners of Superman and Batman. The 2 most powerful, iconic, gigantic superheroes to ever live. That's like being the owners of, and I normally would say Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson. But for some reason, obviously Superman being Jordan, Batman as big as he is, and he's right under Superman. Superman is the creme de la creme. I hate to say this because it feels like I'm about to betray Michael Jordan and LeBron. To give Magic Batman, it doesn't feel like Magic is heavy enough for Batman. You need a LeBron because people compare Michael and LeBron as the greatest. And if Batman and Superman are the 2 greatest, the 2 biggest on the table, I think LeBron holds more weight than Magic.
I think LeBron fills the Batman suit better than
Magic.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being said, I'm going, how do you drop the ball on this? Now, DC has done well at times, especially with the Christopher Nolan series with Batman. But they still have yet to truly get Superman right. Even though Man of Steel was pretty solid, but we never got a Man of Steel 2. So that being said, I'm just going, I never knew Deadpool until I watched Deadpool. I didn't even know it was really a comic thing. I just by chance went, who's this Deadpool character? I saw the movie, Ryan Reynolds, fell in love with it. I like it. So that I'm saying, if you're a geek of this, if you're a comic book nerd, if you're a comic book convention goer, attendee, I love how they break the fourth wall with this. And that moment before that first fight with Wolverine and Deadpool, when he goes, when Deadpool breaks the fourth wall and goes, let's give them what they want. Then they cut to Hugh Jackman with the claws out. Let's go. Then they cut back to Ryan Reynolds and he goes, okay, nerds, pull out your favorite sock. Like, it's time to beat off. This is your moment. And they gave it to you.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
I love when you saw that 20th Century Fox in the ground.
Right.
Halfway in the ground, halfway
Right.
out of the ground. You know, this was a movie that, like, not only gave you what you wanted to see on screen, but gave the business to everyone that didn't want to put it out.
Oh.
And I loved it. I loved how they really went after every entity, pro and against.
Yeah, dude, this movie felt so fun because, again, when you go see any other typical superhero movie, it stays within the framework of what a movie is supposed to be. That break in the fourth wall and some of that dialogue is so genius because it's like you feel like you're in on inside jokes. It just breaks it. I love that moment when Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool goes, something, Fox bought the rights, and then Disney did this. He's going to do this till he's in his 90s. Oh, come on.
Dude, this movie felt, to me, like a movie, like the comic book movie, with a narrator from Mad Magazine.
Yes. Dude, I was just in my head thinking Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
It's got that feel to it, that energy.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, man, it feels like people go, there are certain roles that certain actors were born to play. It's your destiny. And everyone hands down goes, there is no Iron Man if it's not Robert Downey Jr. There is no Wolverine other than Hugh Jackman. Even though, I'm going to say something, that's one of my notes. There is no Deadpool without Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds sells that swarmy, sarcastic, passive aggressive. He does that beautifully. Beautifully.
And I have to agree with you because he was not Green Lantern.
You know what? I know a lot of people have a problem with Green Lantern. I don't have a biggest problem with it as everybody else. This is how stupid I am. I didn't even really know the outfit was CGI'd until people said it. That looked pretty authentic to me. But as far as who Green Lantern is, what he looks like, I thought Ryan Reynolds was fine.
I wasn't that mad at Ryan Reynolds.
I wasn't mad at that movie.
I was mad at the movie. They had so much more potential. And
potential?
Yeah, whatever I said, but the right way.
You know, that's actually a good word that they should use in sports. Like the hard knocks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a football coach and I'm talking to my rookies. Listen, you guys got a lot of potential.
Potential.
You just nigga.
So, but I think that I think that
Then you f***ed it up.
yeah, I did. I f***ed it all up. It had so much more opportunity. That's what was wrong with Green Lantern. You know, and it has to be hard because you know you pick these these comics to make into movies, and they're comics, and you have to bring them to life. And I think it's a lot harder than people. They don't understand that there's a lot of people who already know the comic, and it's not just about making a movie. It's about bringing that comic book character to life. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And you have a lot of people that are going, nope, that's not good. That doesn't work that way. No,
You know what's astonishing to me, and I love seeing the audience reactions from people in the theater on certain scenes. And I'm not gonna lie, I do this every now and then because every now and then I like a good cry. It grounds me. It makes me feel good when I get done and I wipe my face. But the audience reactions to the movie Logan, in the end when he dies, and he goes, "Now I know what it feels like." Talking about love, to love and be loved, and she goes, "Daddy." Oh. And then she takes the cross and turns it into an X. Watching people's reaction, particularly women. There's a thing on YouTube where you can watch a whole bunch of women, female mashup reaction, and just the tears are flowing. And I'm telling you, man. I forgot what my point was, where I was going with that. But
a good cry.
A good cry. But it's amazing to me because, like I talked about with Brandon, you just can't please everybody. And even when you go, dude, what could possibly be wrong with this film? What could possibly be wrong with this dish? There are people who just can't be moved. I was reading some of the comment, boring. I walked out. What? Listen, even if you didn't think this was the best movie, this was not a movie that was so bad you walk out. You piece of shit. Your name is probably Brandon.
If you didn't enjoy the fight scenes, it's
Come
because
on.
they were long and gratuitous fight scenes.
No such thing with man food.
I'm understanding that, but that's my point. For some people, they were like, it was enough already. But it was part of what made this movie so fun.
If you don't go into this movie not already knowing things like gratuitous, over the top, gory, semi-ridiculous, that's all of what's in this gumbo.
Listen, if they went in and they didn't know it, and they saw the title screen where they're showing all the names of the people in, that for the first, walk out. Go ahead and walk out because that's the movie. That's going to be the movie the whole way through. Everything's going to be over the top, more than what you need. This is like when you take this is like a 3-layer cake where there's different frostings in it, and then they put extra frosting, and then they throw some ice cream on it and some sprinkles.
This is a diabetic's death, nigga.
Okay. So you're going to get that. Some people don't want that. They want it to stay closer to.
Nigga, if this was a party, this is all over the place. Women, jacuzzi. Somebody's going to die at the end of the night. This is that kind of party. I loved it. It was so much fun.
I would have said it was too much if they didn't honor so many things to the comic book, if they didn't honor things to the movie, and if they didn't honor some like little notes in it that I thought were good, that they actually were meaningful. There's a point where I'm thinking, okay, they're going too far for Wolverine because that's not who he is. And then certain things get said and his personality, and I'm like, nope, they brought it all back.
And what's great is, in case that's why I'm going in terms of a balance. If you thought, oh, this is too much, it's blah, 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 there were a couple scenes with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine that were like, for however much may be too much as Ryan Reynolds' character, Deadpool, there was some real human moments in terms of what Wolverine was going through in his struggle. When he had the moment with his daughter, that played his daughter in Logan, now she's grown up a little bit, at the fireplace when he goes, I'm not that right guy. And she goes, you were never that right guy. But whether it was him struggling in that moment or that moment with the Professor X looking who was the bad guy and he had on the white t-shirt and dropped to his knee, there was some real moments away from all the sniffing to sober you up. Oh, yeah.
You know what was good about having all that political conversation before this?
Yes.
So that we can tell people in the description, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to know anything about it, don't watch the last 20 minutes of this podcast.
Yeah, that too. But you know what? You know what? And I this is one of my notes, and I'm kind of saving it to last. I know exactly what we need to call this episode. But before I get to that, it's funny in the beginning. What was really fun and funny is when Deadpool has to find Wolverine. And they first cut to the first Wolverine, different versions of Wolverine, and he's sitting at the bar, so you can't tell. But then when he gets up, he's like a small Wolverine. In the comic books, he's really short.
Yeah.
He's not as big as Hugh Jackman. So I went, as funny as that is that them really telling the truth in a way? Like an Easter egg?
I think it's them poking fun of the truth because he's small, but he wasn't that small.
No, but he in the comic books, he's small.
He's small. He's short.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna tell you, dude, I wasn't mad at a Henry Cavill Wolverine. I know we know it's Hugh Jackman. He solidified the role. But I always said, dude, who, if you could think of, outside of Hugh Jackman, would make a good Wolverine? I always said two people. A young Clint Eastwood during the spaghetti western era.
Yeah.
Because
I agree with that.
Remember, he always chewed on them cigars, them little. So a young Clint Eastwood, and as much as people might not want to agree with me, try to see it. Mel Gibson, who he is now, with the gray
I
and
can
the
understand
full
what you're saying.
Picture Mel with a cigar, that gritty Mel Gibson.
I'll give you one that I don't think that you thought about.
Who?
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
You stupid. Are you for real?
No, I was hoping I threw you the pass and you were going to catch it.
No, I know I should do Bobby.
Yeah.
But I'm caught up in what you're saying, though, for a second.
No, I threw it to Bobby.
What the Jesus. Wicked pass there. I fumbled it. I mean, Tom Brady could play anything. You know why? He's the greatest purebred, square jaw, cleft chin, blue-eyed, hair-lighted, greatest Anglo-Saxon pure white bread man God's ever produced. The guy's to die for.
The only thing he doesn't have is claws.
No, because then that would deflate the kid. And then he'd be called for cheating. And Tom Brady's no cheat, let me tell you. The guy's to die for. He doesn't have to cheat. You know, the claws would probably come out of his razor sharp. You know what I'm saying, kid? I don't really know where I'm going with that, but it's Tom Brady.
You know, because if he was going to have sex with a girl who wasn't shaved.
That's right. He could with the claws out of his he'd shave it really quick. And then throw the pass into the touchdown. Name's Bobby Patterson, by the way. But between Mel Gibson and Clint, could you see?
I can see Clint. I can, because the Dirty Harry character redone a little bit, it works for me.
Yeah.
But it's Hugh Jackson's character. I did not like. He was too big.
Henry Cavill?
Yeah, he was just too big. You know what? And honestly, I want to know if there was some CGI on Henry Cavill at that moment, because
he did look kind of.
It was a little bit he looked like he was closer to the Thing. That he was.
Right.
He was so big.
Yeah.
And he doesn't look that big when he's playing regular characters.
Well, you know, physically though, Superman, if you remember in Man of Steel, that scene where he's running, I think he had just saved the guys from the oil thing, and he's trying to find some clothes, and he's shirtless in shorts, and he grabs the clothes off the clothespin in somebody's backyard. Yo, he's a buff.
He's buff, but I didn't think he was that. Right. Those shoulders, that back was like I was like that. He looks like a professional bodybuilder, like the 6 foot guys. Mm-hmm. So I thought that might have been a little bit enhanced, but yeah, that was too big for who he is.
This movie is totally demographically geared towards teenage boys and comic book geeks. If you're 15, 16, 14, and you're a comic book nerd. That's why
it's speaking to you.
That's why when he said that line about break out your favorite sock, it's such a jerk off. It's such a beat your meat moment, because it gives you what the you want.
Not only does it give you it gives you. It's what you like. It's what you always imagine if they get together. What it's going to be. That's really what it's what you imagine. Every scene that's way too much and over the top is what it gives you. It gives you every one of them.
Listen, and I'm a Wesley Snipes fanatic. So much so, I even said to myself, I think the actor's name, who's supposed to be the new Blade, Mahershala Ali, from the movie Moonlight, and one of my favorite movies, The Green Book. You know, I'm old school. I'm stuck in my ways. I like Mahershala Ali, but Wesley's my dude. Leave Wesley the alone. Yeah, it's time for somebody new to play Blade. Wesley looks old and sickly.
I don't think he looks sickly.
Yeah,
his mouth moves a little different.
Yeah, you can see the weight loss in his
neck. Yeah.
And then I don't like this wig they put on him, because I know the hair he had for Blade, but we also talking about what? 20 years ago?
It was longer than that.
Maybe longer than that. So while it was nice for the nostalgia reasons to see Wesley, I just went, it's time to pass the torch, man.
It would have been nice when they were talking about being locked up there and never being go out. If Wesley would have went, do you know how long I've been here?
Wait, say that again?
When they're talking about in there how long that they've been captured, that they've been stuck there. And Wesley would have went, Do you know how long I've been here? Like, just would have made fun of the fact that it was so many.
Well, no, but would have drove it home if he would have been like, man, you know how long I've been locked up?
Yeah, that.
Because of his stint for the tax evasion.
Yeah. And he would have just said, I don't even want, and taken off the wig.
Right. Now, here's what I'm getting to. Andy, we have to call this podcast Buttery Nuts. Let me tell you why. The Gambit character floored the shit out of me. Again, I don't know much about comics, so I don't know that this dude, I guess, is from New Orleans, Creole, because I remember in the movie Wolverine, when the first showed the Gambit character, he actually went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I guess this guy has a New Orleans background. But again, I love the fact that it felt like an inside joke that Ryan Reynolds was with this dude about his accent.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, do you have a dialect coach or something? Because there is no exposition here at all. And at one point, and I'm glad I saw it because I wrote it down, this says, I know my daddy. I shot out his dick ready. Shot out his dick ready. He lay his buttery nuts in my mama. At one point that said, and this is the dialogue, I know my daddy. I shot out of his ready. He lay his buttery nuts in my mama. Buttery Nuts
Was so funny.
I lost it. Like when we talk about cursing, and I said there is an art to cursing. Certain words tickle the eardrum like a seasoning on a food, on a dish. It gives it the je ne sais quoi. When you hear buttery nuts, that makes you laugh.
Buttery Nuts followed by my mama.
My mama. He laid buttery nuts in my mama.
But
Buttery nuts.
what I loved about it is they had that whole interaction. They made fun of him. And Gambit never really had a real shot in any, and he even says that in this thing. He never had a real shot at anything.
I'm going to make a name for myself right here.
They gave him a little bit extra in the fight scene.
Right.
They gave him some extra. The scene where he, see, I hate to give away too much, but there's a scene where he does this thing with the cards, and then he's walking away, and he just blows them all up.
Yeah.
That was such a good scene for someone who didn't get attention in all the other.
I always wondered why he didn't, because I always thought Gambit was one of the cooler X-Men, and I'm just like, they've never highlighted him in an X-Men film.
Well, he's not really. I don't think he's not. I don't know, because I was in comic books for a short period of time in my life that I really liked the X-Men, but then I was out. And I don't know how much of a part he played through the X-Men. I know that he's in the Wolverine. I don't know how much Gambit is throughout the comic book series.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think it's minimal. And what are you going to do with that guy? He's this guy, mystical guy with cards from New Orleans
And a shiny nightstick.
Yeah. Which he used in
He used in this.
yeah, in this and in
Wolverine. Yeah.
So I don't know, but I just like how they did him up a little bit, and they made the accent way thicker.
Dude, it was so thick. That's why when he said it the way he said it, I know my daddy. I shut out my daddy ready. He lay his buttery nuts in my mama. Lay his buttery nuts.
There's like 3 scenes when he's talking about his dad.
Dude. It's such a slimy ick of a way to describe nuts. Buttery nuts. That floored me. And dude, here's another jerk off moment for I know the diehard comic book geeks, which I thought was pretty cool, because we've always seen Wolverine in the comics with that mask with the wings and the eyes, and he never ever did it. He never even did the yellow suit, which was such a big deal to people. So they were like, holy shit, he's wearing the suit from the comic books. Now, I didn't know he was going to do the mask thing, so I just thought, oh, that's cool. He's doing the suit. Yo, when they showed us the slow motion shot of them two walking in the frame, and Deadpool's got the 2 gold guns, and Hugh Jackman pulls the mask down, even I went goosebumps.
Dude, and what was funny about it is, you've always accepted that he didn't have the mask on because it was going to look
hokey.
And when he pulled it down, that moment,
it didn't.
It didn't. But as you saw it throughout, when he comes back, when
Right.
there's a scene when he pops back up, then you go, yeah, I think 2 hours of that might have been too much.
You know what? I don't know. I think 2 hours of that for the whole franchise might have been silly, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
But dude, when you look at the shape he's
Yeah.
in,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then that yellow suit, it's almost like, listen, why is that any different from Spider-Man in his outfit? Or Deadpool in his?
It just kind of works, and that mask has the wing kind of on it. I got to tell you, if I was Hugh Jackman, though, I wouldn't want to wear the suit either. Because I would be like, you know how hard it was for me to get this chest? You know how hard it is for me to keep these abs going?
Speaking of which, I'm glad you brought that up. I saw in an interview, and you know what's interesting as when the movie is over and they're showing the editing credits, kind of like a homage to the whole journey. They show footage from when Hugh Jackman first started and throughout all the films. He had no muscles.
He was in
No,
he was cut.
No, he wasn't even cut, Andy. He was in shape. He had a flat stomach, but there was no definition. There was no cuts. There was no line. He was basic, like a basic canvas, just a whiteboard. Dude, from where he started to where he is.
At 55 years old. He's 55.
He said in an interview, he goes, up until the moment he knows he has to shoot the scene with his shirt off, he goes, there's a 3-month startup to getting that physique. You already have to be in shape when you start. But he goes, within the last 5 days, I do no water. I
Yeah.
dehydrate myself.
Yeah, you have to. That's how you get all
and he
that cut.
goes, you get headaches, you get depression. And I just go, is it worth it? It looks fantastic. But damn, to put listen, it's one thing to put yourself through that when you got 20th Century Fox written on your check and you know you're making millions. That's the motivation. But just for the regular Joe who ain't a movie star, you doing that?
Well, not for 5 days, but like all those Men's Health magazine covers where the guy's on and he all has all those abs, you're not drinking any water for like 3 days. You're getting...
Is that even healthy?
No, but that's how you get that cut, that skin. Your skin holds water, so you got to dehydrate yourself so that you can have that ripped look.
And then you do that, and then how long does that last? How long you keep that look?
Until you drink water.
Oh, that's insane.
You do it for the photo shoot, and then you drink water. And you drink things like diuretics, like coffee, that can dehydrate you. I mean, there's water in it, but it dehydrates you. And you don't even want to drink too much of that because it still gets captured. The water that is in it will go into your skin. It's so much this. You know what's funny about this? I'm going to say this. This is a very man thing for me to say right now for our few women listeners. This is why I get so upset when women have to do this thing where we have to be so inclusive. Big girls are beautiful. And they're getting modeling gigs and they're putting them on magazines because we have to be inclusive and make everybody feel comfortable with their body. Men do this. We're hold to that We're hold to that standard of the guy with the muscles, the guy who didn't drink any water.
But only if you're in a position where you have to be.
No, but a regular guy, the girl that sees that guy in high school and picture sees that guy and thinks, well, this is what a great looking guy. This is what a
But
guy
I
in
don't
good
think
shape is
women
supposed to be.
hold men to that standard in terms of, can I accept him as my mate?
No, but
Because
when
most men ain't walking around looking like Hugh Jackman.
No, but when we see it, we think that we're fat. We think that we could tone up. We think that we go through the same thing, is what I'm saying, and no one's coming to save us. Of course, though, we can be fat, though, too, and we still,
Hey, fat, we stand tall. Put your donuts in the air.
I'm just saying no one's talking about making the Ken doll, have a spare tire and man boobs.
If we're being honest, in today's society, shouldn't he?
No, because Ken isn't supposed to look like that. And
Ken ain't supposed to not have a either.
No, that's what he's supposed to look like. That's perfect for today's society. But what I'm saying is, I was at the Nike store the other day, and they have big women models. Mm-hmm. I didn't see any big men models. I did see big women models. The idea of working out and getting healthy is to get you in shape, not bigger. If you just came and you saw, hey,
I think it was Andrew Schultz that said on Joe Rogan, nothing pisses me off than a fat model. Because he goes, do you know how much sacrifice Victoria's Secret models put into having to look good? And you, just because you can't put down a donut, should be celebrated with your whale ass.
Well, they're also beautiful looking women, though.
They are.
So,
But I've always said, a beautiful woman that's fat is a waste of face.
I just think, like, especially like a Sports Illustrated model, which is sports and you think about sports, physical activity, working to be the best you can be. That isn't it for me, and I'm sorry. I feel that way. I don't have a problem with bigger women. I think big women are beautiful. That's not the issue. I think everybody should be healthy, but there is a standard. We don't. You when you go to the Olympics, you want the gold medal. Some people will get silver. That's good. Some people aren't going to medal at all. That's disappointing. I think it's like handing out medals for people who didn't qualify, man. This is you're a model. I'm not saying you're not good looking, but you're a model.
There should come a standard with that.
That's
the word model, right? Right? Isn't that?
There is a standard. Actually, when models got too skinny and it was getting growth, they pulled back from that. There is a happy medium somewhere in there, but people go through it. That's why these guys don't drink anything. That's why they do take these photo shoots after not having any water for 3 days, because this is an achievement. It isn't something that you just become. It's an achievement.
Right.
Brad Pitt's a good-looking guy. He's a better-looking guy when he works out and he's in shape. He doesn't get to be Brad Pitt because he's Brad Pitt. He had to put effort into being Brad Pitt.
I mean, physically, but the genetics was always
the face
there.
is going to be there, but he looks better when he works out. When he gets
everybody does.
So, this is it. This is all I'm saying. There's a reason why you become a model.
My last note, and it really is music plays such a powerful role in movies. It's what helps you cry. It's what helps you get upset.
Moves the movie. Brings it along.
And I know that they said that there was a little bit of a struggle that they had, because that scene where they do show Deadpool and Wolverine coming out just before he lowers the mask, they played Madonna, and they had to personally get Madonna to sign off on that moment. And that was such a great moment to use Madonna. But going back to the ending credits, as they're showing the montage of old footage, they're playing that song that they use so much in movies. Heaven time, this is the greatest of your. You know that song?
Yeah.
And then the fortitude in your mind.
I think they used it for Friends.
Yeah. Heaven and time, this is a great. You know the song I'm talking. Real white song. But as they're playing that and showing that, dude, I'm little goosebumps, a little teary eyed, because I've been there through the journey.
Yeah.
And when you're there from the beginning, you watch people grow. You grow with them. You feel like you are a part of that journey. And to see Hugh Jackman from the beginning, because I remember exactly where I was when I saw the first X-Men movie. I was in New York when it first came out, and I saw it at a theater in New York. And to go from that beginning to now, and see all those characters, and remember Halle Berry as Storm, and this and this and this, it felt like that. It just that song fits what that's supposed to represent. Like, you've had the greatest time of your life throughout this journey. I don't know if y'all remember this, but I remember when the first X-Men movie came out and Halle Berry as Storm, she had an accent. She talked with an accent. But then after that, she completely got rid of the accent because it sounded ridiculous.
It's a good move to get rid of the accent.
Yeah. Yeah. So
ask Kevin Costner in Robin Hood.
Should ask anybody in a lot of movies. Somebody pointed out to me, and I know how I mentioned to you in The Mighty Quinn how bad Denzel's Jamaican accent is. I saw a clip somebody put on Instagram where I guess he did another movie and he did a British accent. Horrific.
Does he do an accent when he does Shakespeare?
It's that Shakespearean, but I don't know if that's an accent as much as a dialect.
Okay.
It's amazing to be one of the greatest actors of all time. But when it comes to accents, a lot of these guys fail miserably.
Dude, I'm terrible at it. I can't even do a Jewish voice very well.
And you're Jewish.
And I can't even do it very well.
Right.
I'm getting better at it because I've been whinier more than I ever have. But
I can't even do a skanky wanker, but I'm working on my Brandon. Working on my Brandon from the UK. Coxsackie. That's it.
That's the show. You want some dates?
Sure. Buttery Nuts.
I got it here. I got it. Deadpool, Wolverine, Buttery Nuts.
No, just Buttery Nuts.
Just Buttery Nuts?
Just Buttery
Okay.
Nuts.
Okay.
I know my daddy. I should have been ready. He put the Buttery Nuts up to my mama. Oh, that's great.
Let me get these dates, man. They're right. I put them all right
This
here.
is the greatest time in your life. They're just certain songs that I'm telling you are white anthems.
You like them, too.
I love it. I told you. There's stuff in me.
Okay, while you're listening to this, we're no longer, but we were at LOL Comedy Club. Had a great time. Guys that came out Friday night, we only have 2 more shows tonight, Saturday. And it so far, great crowds. It's always good being in San Antonio, man.
I like San Antonio.
August 8th through the 10th, we're going to be in San Diego at Mic Drop Comedy Club. August 16th through the 18th, we're at the Improv in Dana Beach. That just went up not too long ago.
Dania. I think it's Dania.
Dania?
Dania.
Yeah, you're right. It's Dania. I'm sorry. Sorry, Dania Beach. August 22nd through the 23rd, we're at Stand Up Live in Phoenix. And August 24th, get your tickets, Rialto Theater in Tucson, Arizona. Come on, Tucson. Tell the people over at the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base to come out, man. They don't even know. No one even advertises to the poor Air Force Base. August 30th through the September 1st, we're going to be at the Improv in Houston, Texas. We're back in Texas. September 7th, we're at the Complex in Salt Lake City, Utah. September 13th through the 14th, we're at the Hartford Funny Bone. September 20th through the 21st, we're at the Improv in Kansas City, Missouri. September 26th through the 29th, we're at Tommy T's. That's up in Pleasanton, in that Bay Area. Yeah, it's off the Bay, but it's in that area. October 4th, we're at the Royal Oak Music Theater in Michigan. October 5th, we're at the Apollo Theater in NYC. It's my first time being out there. Ari's been there. You got anything to add to that one?
To the Apollo?
Yeah.
It's showtime at the Apollo. Let your body move.
October 11th through the 13th, we're at the Improv in Orlando, Florida. October 17th, we're at Vancouver Playhouse. It's the last part of our Canadian tour of this 2024. October 18th through the 20th.
It's hot as a in here.
In here?
Yeah.
Doesn't feel that bad right here.
You got the air on?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. October 18th to the 20th, we're at Spokane Comedy Club in
My
Washington.
forehead feels like buttery nuts.
Dude, it has nothing to do with me. October 25th to the 27th, we're at the Improv in Tampa.
I should wipe my buttery nuts on your forehead.
No, you shouldn't. October 31st through November 3rd, we're at the Chicago Improv in Schaumburg. It's in the Chicago area. November 8th, we are at Hawaii Theater. That's one night only. November 15th to the 17th, West Nyack in upper New York. It's up in New York. It's in the New York area, West Nyack. November 21st to the 24th, we're at the Improv in Ontario, California. And November 29th, we're at Texas Trust CU Theater.
You know, I know some of you guys have been requesting it via my Instagram. So I guess I'm happy to announce that Helium has opened a comedy club in Atlanta. So we will be coming to Atlanta, I believe, in March of 2025 at Helium Comedy Club. And then, of course, one of my favorite clubs we just got booked back into February 27th of 2025, Washington, D.C., D.C. Improv.
You always are happy to be in DC Improv.
I love
it.
I love that place.
It's one of the... Listen, nothing against the rest of the country. It's a political climate in D.C. And everybody, from the person with the top job to the homeless people in D.C., they're political. They know what's going on. They know what's happening in the city.
Yeah, it's just it's everything, man. The level of sophistication, class, the quickness, the wittiness, the savviness, the sharpness, demographically, it's just superbly mixed. The women are beautiful. It's just, I love DC, man. The Mayflower Hotel right across the street. I could leave, take a come back, and Andy's still on stage.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever left and taken a shit at the hotel? I can't imagine you would do that.
Yes, I have. Yes, I'm trying to think because the restroom at the DC Improv is public.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need to just take all my clothes off.
Yeah, that restroom. I mean, the green room at the DC Improv. they don't have room for the DC Improv.
No.
So
No.
it's a small, but it's a very efficient green room. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
Not complaining about it whatsoever, but they do have that other room, and they have bathrooms in the back of that room because that one space out in that corner, they have a nice little room.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that little room out there, they have a little comedy club. I think it only holds like 80.
I had never been in there.
Yeah, I've done that room a few.
Really?
Been on stage there a few times. I haven't headlined that room or anything.
Okay.
Would be nice. It would be nice, guys, in DC if you do that because we talk about you nicely. Love you guys.
Yeah. Before we go, in case I didn't say it, Brandon, suck my buttery nuts. Oh, you guys are still there? Spoiler alert. Aries and Andy are going to talk about Deadpool. Enjoy. There we go.
That was not helpful, but there we go.
Spears and Steinberg.
Thanks for listening to the Spears and Steinberg podcast. For more information on where to find us on the internet, visit spearsburgpod.com.